Ice isn't just frozen water. It's nature's deep freezer, and it's been hoarding some seriously weird stuff for thousands, sometimes millions of years. We're talking ancient creatures frozen mid-snack, eerie human remains with stories colder than the ice they were trapped in, and things that honestly should have stayed buried. But nope, the ice decided to defrost a few secrets, and now we're left wondering, what else is hiding under all that frost? Buckle up, because we're cracking open 15 of the strangest and most unbelievable discoveries ever pulled from the ice. Number 15. A graveyard of fish lizards. In 2014, Chile's Tyndall Glacier started melting just enough to spit out something truly wild: 46 fossilized ichthyosaurs. These ancient marine reptiles were basically prehistoric mashups of dolphins and sharks, sleek predators that ruled the Jurassic Oceans 150 million years ago. But here's the eerie part. Many were pregnant females, frozen in time with their unborn young still inside them. So, what wiped them out? Scientists think a catastrophic mudslide buried them alive, turning the ocean into their tomb. Over millions of years, layers of rock and ice locked them away, until now. Some of the fossils are so well preserved that traces of soft tissue are still visible, which is basically unheard of. Finding these perfectly frozen sea monsters in a melting glacier is both a paleontologist's jackpot and a reminder that the past isn't as dead as we think. Who knows what else is waiting to be uncovered as the ice keeps disappearing. Number 14. Zug Zug the Caveman. In 2021, park-goers in Minneapolis came across something straight out of an Ice Age horror film: a caveman trapped in ice. Was this an insane prehistoric discovery? A guy who took Netflix and chill too literally? Not quite. It was actually an art project. Dubbed Zug Zug the Caveman, the frozen Neanderthal was the brainchild of artist Zach Schumack and an ad agency looking to shake things up. The goal? Get people off their phones and into the real world. And it worked. People stopped, took photos, and even debated whether it was real. Well, it wasn't. But the story doesn't end there. Schumack later added Zara, the mother huntress, giving Zug Zug a companion and cranking up the weirdness factor. The whole thing became a bizarre, hilarious reminder that sometimes the most unexpected things make us stop and pay attention, even if it's just a frozen dude staring back at you. It is a bit creepy, isn't it? Number 13. Life trapped in a hidden lake. Buried beneath 13,000 feet of Antarctic ice, there's a lake that's been sealed off from the world for millions of years. No sunlight, no fresh air, just pure isolation. Sounds like a sci-fi horror movie, right? Well, it's real, and it's called Lake Vostok. When scientists drilled down and took samples, they found something unexpected: microbial life. Tiny, bizarre organisms that have been completely cut off from the rest of the planet. Some researchers believe these microbes evolved in total isolation, making them some of the strangest life forms on Earth. Others argue the samples were contaminated, and the debate is still raging. But here's the real kicker. If life can survive in a sunless, frozen, high-pressure nightmare like Lake Vostok, what's stopping it from existing on Europa, Enceladus, or even Mars? The idea that alien life might be hiding under ice, just like this, suddenly doesn't seem so far-fetched. All right, now, let's head over to number 12. Predator versus prey. A frozen lake in Indiana turned into a bizarre time capsule in 2017 when two fishermen stumbled upon something surreal: a pike frozen mid-chomp on a base. It looked like nature had hit the pause button at the exact moment of the kill. Brothers Alex and Anton Babich found the eerie scene on Lake Wawasee, where a layer of ice had sealed the fish in a dramatic, almost cinematic moment. Their theory? The pike bit off more than it could chew, literally, choking on the base just as the lake flash froze. Unable to spit it out, Both fish became trapped, a predator and prey locked in one final fatal struggle. Nature doesn't usually grant us snapshots like this, but sometimes sheer luck and freezing temperatures combine to create a once-in-a-lifetime scene straight out of a wildlife documentary. A food chain frozen in action, almost poetic in a weird, brutal kind of way. Number 11. The anthrax outbreak. In 2016, something straight out of a horror movie unfolded in Russia's Yamalo-Nenets region. A deadly anthrax outbreak swept through the area, killing over 2,500 reindeer and hospitalizing more than 100 people. The cause? Well, at first people thought it was aliens, but later it was verified as a 75-year-old infected reindeer carcass that had been buried in the permafrost until the ice melted. With rising temperatures thawing ancient layers of ice, dormant anthrax spores reawakened, spreading through the local wildlife and into human communities. The outbreak was devastating, even claiming the life of a 12-year-old boy. In a desperate attempt to prevent further spread, authorities had to cull an additional 100,000 reindeer. This was more than just a freak event. It was a terrifying preview of what could be lurking beneath the permafrost. If one melting carcass could unleash a deadly disease, what other ancient pathogens are waiting to thaw? Smallpox? Bubonic plague? The past isn't always buried. It's just on ice, waiting. Number 10. Millions of grasshoppers. High up in Montana's Beartooth Mountains, there's a glacier that looks pretty normal, until you realize it's packed with millions of frozen grasshoppers. And not just any grasshoppers. Some of these bugs belong to the Rocky Mountain locust, a species that went extinct over a century ago. So, how did they end up trapped in ice for thousands of years? The leading theory? A massive swarm got caught in an unexpected storm, freezing solid in mid-flight. As climate change melts the glacier, these ancient insects are emerging, perfectly preserved with their delicate wings and legs still intact. Imagine holding a grasshopper that last twitched before the pyramids were built. It's a weird, unexpected look into a prehistoric world, one where swarms of locusts darkened the skies and nature had a very different sense of balance. But here's the real question. If grasshoppers can survive in ice for millennia, what else is waiting to thaw? Number 9. See-through fish. In 2015, a team of researchers drilling 2,500 feet beneath Antarctica's Ross ice shelf expected to find nothing but darkness and freezing water. Instead, they stumbled upon something straight out of horror: ghostly, see-through fish gliding through the icy depths. These bizarre creatures, part of the Notothenioidae suborder, have evolved to survive in extreme cold, with antifreeze proteins in their blood preventing them from turning into fish popsicles. Their translucent bodies reveal their inner workings in eerie detail, beating hearts, pulsing veins, even their last meal if you look closely enough. Then, in 2021, scientists exploring the Weddell Sea discovered something even wilder. Millions of ice fish, Neopagitopsis iona, swimming in the largest known fish-breeding colony on Earth. These eerie swimmers have clear skulls and, get this, colorless blood. No hemoglobin, no problem. They survive just fine in oxygen-rich Antarctic waters. Number 8. The Swiss couple. In 1942, Marcelin and Francine Dumoulin left their Swiss village for what should have been a routine trip into the Alps. They never came back. Their sudden disappearance shattered their 7 children's lives, leaving them orphaned and separated. Decades passed, with no clues, until 2017, when a ski lift worker spotted something shocking emerging from the Tsan-Fleuron glacier: 2 perfectly preserved bodies. Alongside them were backpacks, boots, and even a glass bottle, all frozen in time. DNA tests confirmed what the Dumoulin family had feared for 75 years. Their parents had fallen into a crevasse, buried by ice until climate change slowly unveiled their fate. For their now elderly children, it was a moment of both heartbreak and closure. The glacier, once their parents' silent tomb, finally released them, proving that even the coldest mysteries can't stay hidden forever. Well, have been feeling a bit cold. Do you also? Number 7. The Endurance. Few shipwrecks hold a legend quite like the Endurance. In 1915, explorer Ernest Shackleton led his crew into the heart of Antarctica, only for their ship to become hopelessly trapped in the ice. Crushed and swallowed by the Weddell Sea, it vanished, leaving Shackleton and his men stranded in one of the harshest places on Earth. What followed was one of history's most insane survival stories. Despite months of brutal cold, dwindling supplies, and near-impossible odds, every single crew member survived. For over a century, the Endurance was thought to be lost forever, until 2022, when a high-tech expedition finally found her, sitting 10,000 feet below the surface. And the craziest part? The ship was almost perfectly intact, preserved by the frigid Antarctic waters. Her name was still visible on the hull as if she was just waiting to be found. It's a haunting yet beautiful reminder of human resilience and how some legends refuse to sink. Number 6. Yucca the Mammoth. In 2010, a group of Siberian villagers stumbled upon something straight out of the Ice Age, a perfectly preserved woolly mammoth. Named Yucca, this prehistoric giant had been frozen for an astonishing 39,000 years. Despite being a juvenile, Yucca weighed an estimated 5 tons and was between 6 and 8 years old when it died. But here's what makes this discovery so haunting. Its face, skin, and even tufts of light brown fur remained intact, as if it had just fallen asleep on the ice. Scientists believe Yucca might have fallen victim to predators or even early humans, as evidence suggests it was butchered after death. Today, Yucca is displayed in Moscow, where visitors stare into the eyes of a creature that once roamed the frozen tundra. It's both mesmerizing and unsettling, a ghost from a world that vanished long before ours began. Seeing Yucca frozen in time is a chilling reminder that some echoes of the past refuse to fade. Number 5. A frozen tragedy. Glaciers tend to preserve history, but not all of it is ancient. In 2017, a hiker on New Zealand's Fox Glacier made a discovery far more recent: a human body trapped in ice. Unlike mummies from forgotten civilizations, this was the modern remains of Cynthia Charlton, a British woman who perished in a 2015 helicopter crash alongside 6 others, including her husband. For 2 years, the glacier had kept its secret, slowly shifting and carrying debris from the wreckage until Cynthia's body was revealed. Glaciologist Andrew McIntosh studied the site and estimated that the ice had moved several hundred feet per year, a chilling reminder of how glaciers can hold and then release the past on their own timeline. Her recovery provided closure to her grieving family, but it also highlighted the unforgiving nature of these icy landscapes. Glaciers preserve history, but they also remind us how fragile life is when faced with nature's raw power. Number 4. The sacrificed Incan children. In 1999, archaeologists climbing Lulailaco, a remote volcano in Argentina, made one of the most haunting discoveries in history: 3 Incan children, perfectly frozen in time. Dubbed the Children of Lulailaco, their bodies were so well preserved that they looked as if they had simply fallen asleep. But the truth was far darker. These children, aged 6, 7, and 15, were sacrifices. As part of an Incan ritual known as capacocha, they were drugged with coca leaves and alcohol before being buried alive in the freezing mountaintop. The extreme cold kept their skin, hair, and even internal organs intact for over 500 years. The eldest, known as the Lulailaco Maiden, still had strands of braided hair and faint traces of her final meal in her stomach. Her frozen face, calm yet tragic, stares back at us across centuries, offering a chilling glimpse into a civilization that believed such sacrifices would appease their gods. What the heck? Number 3. A Martian meteorite that freaked out NASA. Back in 1984, a tiny piece of Mars crash-landed in Antarctica's Allen Hills. Scientists named it ALH 84001, but what really made it famous was what they found inside. In 1996, NASA researchers claimed that this 4.5 billion-year-old rock contained fossilized alien bacteria. Cue the worldwide freakout. The idea that Mars once had life sent everyone, scientists, conspiracy theorists, and even the president, into a frenzy. But the hype didn't last. Later studies cast doubt on the Martian microbes theory, suggesting the weird structures inside the rock were probably just natural mineral formations. Even though the alien theory fizzled out, this little meteorite is still a huge deal. It's a piece of Mars, frozen in time, and a clue to what the red planet might have been like billions of years ago. Whether or not it ever held life, it's proof that Mars has been flinging pieces of itself at us for eons. Hope Musk builds his spaceship soon. Number 2. A hidden mountain range under Antarctica. Imagine flying over Antarctica looking down at a flat, endless ice sheet. Now let's picture this. Underneath all that ice is an entire mountain range the size of the Alps. Yeah, that's real, even if not look real. Meet the Gamburtsev Mountains. These jagged peaks stretch for 750 miles, some towering nearly 9,000 feet high, but no human has ever seen them. They're buried under 2 miles of ice. Scientists only know they exist because of seismic imaging and radar, which revealed the ghostly outlines of peaks and valleys beneath the frozen surface. How did a mountain range get buried? That's still a mystery. Some believe these mountains helped seed the Antarctic ice sheet millions of years ago. Others think they're remnants of an ancient supercontinent. Whatever the case, they shouldn't even be there. The fact that an entire mountain range was hidden from us for so long proves one thing. We still don't fully understand this planet. Number 1. Mount Erebus. Antarctica isn't all ice and penguins. It also hides a massive fire-breathing beast. Meet Mount Erebus, the southernmost active volcano on Earth. It's been spewing lava for thousands of years, creating a rare permanent lava lake at its peak. Think of it as nature's ultimate paradox, fire and ice, coexisting in the most extreme place imaginable. But Erebus isn't just a geological wonder, it also holds a tragic history. In 1979, Air New Zealand Flight 901 crashed into the mountain due to a navigation error, killing all 257 passengers. The wreckage still remains scattered across the icy slopes, a chilling memorial to one of aviation's worst disasters. And if that wasn't enough, Erebus also belches out gases that some scientists believe contribute to ozone depletion. A volcano in the coldest place on Earth, preserving both life and tragedy. It's almost poetic. Mount Erebus is proof that nature doesn't play by our rules. It creates, it destroys, and sometimes it just watches, waiting. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and also subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.